welcome. How you guys doing? Welcome back to the stream. Thought we'd kick off the stream with some good vibes. Like that. Gotta rock it like here. Keep it like this. Nice. A little bit of smooth jazz. Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. This is going to be the start and the week 10 lecture for Harvard CS50X. We are going to be finishing out the course lectures today. This is the last week of the course. So woohoo! Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. We have come a long way. 10 weeks following a course independently is no small feat. It's very easy to make excuses and put things off. It's very easy to say, I'm going to do it some other time, do it next year, whatnot. But by sticking things through, we can prove to ourselves that we can accomplish hard things, and so can you. So thank you guys truly for sticking with me here as we've been throughout these 10 weeks. It's quite a long time. It's, a little bit over 2 months, 2.5 months is the allotted time of the course. If you're doing it independently, then it can be, pushed out like I did to about 3 months. We started this course at the 1st of January, 2025, and as you can see, we're into March 13th is when we're watching the final lecture. So it's taken us 3 months. I thought we were going to get through it maybe a little bit quicker than I anticipated, but the material is quite dense in the fact that there's a lot to pick up on. A little bit naive of me, I will say, but anyways, it's all good. Hello, Mahan, welcome in. Mahan, you're live. Mahan, you are alive. Mahan's been dead. He's been swamped with school. I think a lot of people are. The stream's been a little bit quieter than normal, or more. I think people are just swamped with midterms coming up. I think people might be. I think midterms are right about now, getting ready for spring break to come up. So they're trying to grind out these last couple of weeks before they can get a little break. Does that sound about right? When's you guys' spring break? Should be coming up like maybe next week, maybe the week after. Maybe this upcoming week is your guys' midterms, and then the week after is spring break. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. We're going to be starting and watching the Harvard CS50X Week 10 lecture, The End. This is the last week of the Harvard CS50X 2025 course. Super excited. I'm not sure what this lecture is going to be on, but it's a little less than an hour, so we should be able to get through it and finish it today. And we will be moving on to our final project, which will be super, super fun. So we'll need some suggestions for maybe a final project that we can cook up together as a stream. Maybe we can convert the small business manager into a front-end, back-end, full stack design and really get some integration with that. Or we could start a new idea completely to cater to CS50X and our newfound knowledge here. So really the options are endless. So if you guys are here, leave a thumbs up on the stream. I really appreciate you guys coming here. Oh, I got to start my recording, which means I got to do my intro again. So I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to do my record for the condensed watch-alongs for the channel upload. So bear with me as I do a little intro again. Sorry, guys. All right. Hello, everybody. We are going to be starting and watching the last week of Harvard CS50X 2025, Week 10, The End. We started this course January 1st, 2025, and we are watching the final lecture, Week 10, on March 13th, 2025. All right, we will be moving on to the Harvard CS50X 2025 final project after this, where we will be integrating and using our newfound knowledge to develop some sort of project. All right, thank you. We got through that intro for the channel upload. Let's kick it off here. Who's excited? Leave some hearts in the chat. Spam the heart emoji if you guys are excited for the lecture being done with this course. Let's go ahead and in the Discord, let's let people know that we're watching. We are watching week 10 of Harvard CS50X 2025. The end is near. Come join and show some love. All right. For those that are in the Discord, do you guys like? I used to do in the channel announcements. Before I got this bot, I used to do it personally, and I would every day I would give a personal message like this is what we're gonna be working on today. And now I kind of have it just be an automated updated message. Do you guys like the personalized ones where I had like at a time? I give a lot more detail. I had like a time, the date, the what we were gonna be focusing on that day, and I sent it out about midway through the day. Let me know what you guys prefer. The other one was just a little bit more work on my end, but I think it might have helped just create more of a personal um, stream. I don't know. I kind of like the other version. Maybe I'll make this bot um, just announce the live ones that'll also throw in here the personal messages as well. Well, I'll keep the automated ones for when we actually go live, but maybe I'll send out like a midday announcement that this is what we'll be doing and what time. How about? And I'm going to be picking up a pack of. I looked up online what time where at in my area those Pokemon vending machines are, so we can get some packs and we can open them together. If you guys can't tell, I'm still sick. I woke up this morning feeling absolutely terrible. I slept all day. I woke up, got some lunch at noon, went back to bed at 1, and I woke up at 6 o'clock. So I've been asleep all day. I didn't go to work today. So I feel a lot better though now that because I slept for literally like 12 hours, including the overnight. So not including my overnight, right? So probably like a good 20 hours of sleep so it was much needed. I'm feeling better, but I'm still a little bit congested, so bear with me, guys. But we're gonna start this lecture. Let me go grab a little tissue, and I'll be right back. Yeah, Dawn Soap. So what we're gonna be doing is I think like every stream we'll open up a pack, right? We'll just do one pack a stream, and then I'll save them throughout the week, and like I'll put them in like a little bit of a small binder, and then I'll do a giveaway for channel members. I'll open up a membership for just a small like $1 a month. I really don't want to make it anything beyond that. The content is supposed to be is free, so I'm really reluctant to even do this. But I want to provide an opportunity to give back to you guys, and I think it might be a good incentive to have like the channel membership for just 99 cents, and then you can. I'll just out of those people, I'll select for the weekly giveaway of those cards that we opened on the stream. So I think that'd be fun. Let me grab a tissue and then we'll get started. All right, I got a little snack here too. If you guys are spice heads, you guys like Takis? Bringing out my my inner spice here. Bear with me, it's gonna be loud. I'll mute here. We'll snack on some of these through the lecture. Next vid, IRL and casino Pokemon card place is closed. All right. Tim, hello, Mike. Happy last week. Next week we get ready to learn Spanish. Next week we get ready to learn Spanish. What? What are the project specifications? Will the final project be graded? I think it's graded in a sense. Like you just have to submit something. People like Ruffles barbecue. What's your guys' favorite kind of chip? All right, let's get this started. I'll reply to the chats as we go. Let's get this going, guys. Let me know how the volume is. Let's see here. Let me know how the volume is. Canadian ketchup chips. This is Taki number 1. How's the volume? Alright, let's get this going. Week 10, boys. Week 10. The end. Woo!
All right, this is CS50, and this is the end, our final lecture together here this week. But it's not all that of the course that itself remains, because of course we still have our final project, CS50 Hackathon, CS50 Fair, and more. And so among the goals for today really is to be a bit of a recap for where you started and where you now hopefully are, and to have some fun and some games along the way. But recall that this was the image with which we began the course, the sort of proverbial drinking from a fire hose. And indeed, if it's felt like that each and every week, realize that behind you each week is all the more content, all the more skills that you've acquired and understood over time. And in fact, I dare say, if you think back today on like how hard something like Mario was some 10 or so weeks ago, I mean, that's sort of the measure of just how far you have come, because we, of course, introduce something new, something more each and every week to sort of build on that previous week. And so even though it might feel like you never quite got your footing, odds are you very much have. And indeed, among the goals for the final project is to convince you that you don't need us, you don't need a homework assignment, you just need nowadays friends, colleagues, Google, ChatGPT, and the like to sort of teach yourself new things now that you have hopefully
that's us,
this
baby.
Conceptual
that's
foundation
us. He's talking
and
about
these
us.
practical skills in your toolkit. What ultimately matters, though, recall, in this class is not so much where you end up relative to your classmates, but where you end up relative to yourself when you
Exactly.
began.
Don't compare, guys.
Brings
it's
us
about
to today.
you
that
individually.
That is the delta by which you should measure what it is you've been accomplishing over the past semester alone. In fact, think back to like my very own CS50 assignment, which I pulled up from the archives that very first week. Even I got sort of -2 on my very first assignment on Hello World, of all things. And hopefully over time, I sort of chipped away at that. I ended up doing OK in CS50, and clearly I went on to study more computer science and other things, so that too, odds are will very much be you as well. And at the end of the day, like CS Recall is really just about this picture, like problem solving. Like computer science is not about programming per se. That's just been a tool in our toolkit via which you can express yourself a little more methodically, more algorithmically, solve problems, build solutions to problems, build products that are of interest to you. But at the end of the day, it really is about taking inputs and ideally correctly producing outputs as well. Toward that end, I also went into the archives and pulled up some of my very first notes from that very first CS50 class I took in 1996. And this was like page 1 of my notes. And if we highlight a few details, I myself, back in the day, per Professor Kernhan's explanation thereof, defined an algorithm as precise sequence of steps for getting something done. Moreover, programming specifically, I see, was this process of taking on algorithm and putting it into a language a computer can process. But perhaps most importantly, of my first day's notes way back when were these two things, and I even used exclamation points apparently to reinforce this to myself, that precision and correctness are very much important. And so we thought we'd put those principles, hopefully those takeaways, those learning objectives to the test today with the first of our fun and games. And if I can ask for one volunteer who bravely volunteered before class even began. Jordan, come on up.
Jordan. Everybody, round of applause for Jordan.
Jordan, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
We're almost done, Ryan. Yes,
Hello,
week 10.
everyone. My name is Jordan. I am a freshman dorming at Wigglesworth.
Welcome to the stage, Jordan.
So
hopefully in your hands you all have a sheet of paper that you might have gotten on the way in. If you don't, find any sheet of paper in your backpack or binder or person next to you. And if you really can't find that, that's OK if you want to just listen along with this. But everyone in the audience now, Jordan, hopefully has a sheet of paper and hopefully a pen or a pencil with which to write something. And so what we thought we'd do is sort of a two-step approach here, whereby the very first round of this here game will have Jordan program you all by giving you step-by-step instructions for solving some problem. And the problem to solve is going to be to tell you exactly how to draw a picture on that sheet of paper, keeping in mind precision and correctness being our overarching goals. If you want to step into the middle of the stage here, actually in front of the lectern first, I'm going to go ahead and dim the screen and show Jordan and only Jordan what is on my screen here. So the picture I'd like you to have folks draw is this picture here. And in fact, I think we can leave this on the screen for just you so that you can look back and forth on it as needed. So only Jordan can see that there screen. And I'll pivot this around so if you want to step over there.
One MacBook
and give
ain't enough.
everyone in the audience their first instruction to draw this.
I can describe it however I want to
You
describe
can say anything that you want verbally.
Great. So visualize a cube, right? And we're looking at it only from the 3 sides, right? And the middle of the cube is where everything intersects. So we have 3 diamond-looking shapes connected to make a cube.
What?
From the chuckles, I'm not sure that's enough. Go on.
Okay. So imagine you're looking at a Rubik's Cube, right? But like without all the 3x3 grid and everything. And one of the pointy edges of the Rubik's Cube is literally in the middle, and you're looking at it from a weird perspective of like kind of.
So if we're looking at a cube, I'll use my wallet here, I guess, for lack of a better reason. We're looking at it from like this direction here. Kind of. I don't have like, this is only rectangular. It's not as big, but think about it like we're looking at it from the point, right? Like that. So you would have like a diamond here technically, a diamond right here, and then one more right here if it was more bulky. I got you. I get what he's saying. I got you, Jordan. For those of you who don't know, I was going to be a dentist before I decided to go into chemistry. So I was practicing for the DAT exam. And the DAT exam has a section on there when you, a big skill as a dentist is you have to be able to identify and have really good 3D orientation. Because think about it, you're using mirrors like and doing things in reverse through mirrors when you're working on teeth, like in the back or whatnot. So you have to be able to orient yourself really correctly. So part of the DAT exam is like this whole thing where you have to interpret and visualize the kind of silly little problems and like this and determine like how many open facing sides there are of a stack of cubes, or you know what kind of shape would accurately, if you rotated this shape at 300 degrees, like this many degrees, what would it look like from this angle or something. So I did get some practice with that stuff in the past. Any of you guys familiar with DAT exams, or were you guys going to take, anybody here was going to take the MCAT in college, or which, let me know. I can get what he's trying to say, but poorly explained. Yeah, no, I get you too. Nat Neil's still trying to learn Python. Awesome. You should have you read the Python crash course book that's in the Discord? Tim, you wish. You wish. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, I'm not too good at this.
That's okay. Want to take one more stab?
One more step. Let's see.
Maybe lower level.
Lower level. Okay. So.
Too abstract.
Yes, too abstract. Okay. So first, draw a hexagon, right? Hexagon, 6 sides. Okay. Yeah. Draw a hexagon with a Y-looking shape connecting the top left, top right, and center bottom together. I hope that helps.
Oh my gosh.
Want to stop there? We need a little more instruction.
Should we try it?
Maybe for the chuckles, how about one more instruction, even lower level? Like, tell them where to put the pen on the paper.
So start from the center of the paper.
Okay.
From that center point, you're going to draw one line to the left, one line to the right, and one line all the way from the bottom from that center point. And then you're going to want to make a hexagon shape that will eventually result in a cube that has 3 sides, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we've covered all possible approaches here. So let's do this. If some of my colleagues should very quickly collect, if you're comfortable sharing, as many sheets of paper as we can in just a few seconds. It's okay if we don't collect all of them. As many as we can, though. All right. We have one,
No,
two,
that's
three
a
sets of hands
octagon.
collecting.
It'd be like,
Yuli, I think that'll be enough of the hands. Okay,
that?
Okay, everyone's very
Yeah, like
eager
that.
to give us their seats. Okay. All right. Coming in. We have a whole lot.
Something like that.
Okay. Thank you, Vlad. Okay.
Yeah, Jordan got put on blast
okay,
there.
thank you.
Poor
Okay, thank
Jordan.
you. We'll go through all of these later. Okay, so I'm going to cut over to my laptop's camera here so I can show you, Jordan, a few of what your classmates have drawn based on your description. Here, we have a teeny tiny version thereof in the top corner there. This classmate took a different approach. Okay. This one here took several approaches. There's that Y, though, and a cube in the bottom there. A few different cubes rotated a few different ways. And maybe here's, how about one last one here, a different sort of interpretation altogether. So what Jordan was actually trying to get you to draw was indeed a cube looking simply like this. But I dare say it is hard, but notice the different levels of abstraction I was trying to nudge Jordan to operate at. So you took the highest level of abstraction first, like, hey, I'll draw a cube. That alone is pretty useful information, but how is it oriented? Which way is it angled? It's sort of non-obvious unless we go down a little layer below that. And so then, of course, you proposed drawing a hexagon and then a Y, and so that was getting a little more concrete, but even then it might have been a little non-obvious. And then the last attempt, I dare say you tried, was to say, like, what you should draw concretely with the pen or pencil. And here's where we could have gotten to the lowest level, dare say, where maybe you could have even gone further and said, okay, everyone, put your pen at the top of your page. Now draw a straight line to the southeast of the paper. Then maybe go south on the paper. And much like old school childhood drawing games where it's sort of up, down, left, right, and frankly, like Scratch, we could have really gotten into the weeds had you drawn something that you didn't necessarily know where you were going, but eventually, voila, now you actually see the cube on the screen. So wonderful attempt. Let's go ahead and give Jordan a round of applause here. Thank you so much. All set.
Yeah, Jordan.
Why don't we go ahead and reverse
Jordan.
the roles a little bit here? Could we get one other volunteer who has not been summoned before? How about here? Here, right, come on up. Who do we have here? Come on over here on the edge of the stage. Little bit. We have
in cybersecurity and computer science.
Wonderful. Nice to meet you. Come on over to the middle of the stage. We have to ask you now on the honor system here not to look up, because everyone else now is going to see what it is you're going to draw. And we'll reverse the roles and have the audience now program you verbally by giving you step-by-step instructions for drawing a different picture altogether. Goal being for you to draw with this black marker on the easel. And then every time you draw something, just step aside so everyone can see what you have done. But no looking up.
Okay.
All right.
This
Here
is
we
fun.
go. I'm going to show now the audience only what it is we'd like you to draw. Step 1 from anyone. Just call it out. Start with a circle in the center. Oh, you got? I'm hearing some uh-ohs, but that's OK. Step 2.
Why didn't they just draw a stick figure without the arms? That would have been my first.
OK. The circle is saying hi. Not wrong, but OK. Start from the bottom of the circle.
Come
and
on, they're
draw an
giving
upside
terrible
down Y.
instructions. Give a stick figure, no arms.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
Put the
okay,
word
another
hi
step.
in the top left.
Shout it out, yeah.
Draw a line connecting.
Draw some arms. Okay. Other instructions? Yeah. Draw a line from the circle to hi. And you know, albeit with some artistic liberties, I think that's pretty darn close. Do you want to head and look up finally? And a round of applause here.
Nice. Didn't do too bad.
Thank you. Very nicely done. Thank you. So here,
Yeah,
too,
what's
that
this
was
week
actually
about? It's a field
extraordinarily
trip.
well done for the instructions that were given. So So the high, of course, is off to the wrong side. But this, too, sort of speaks to the importance of precision. It's not just enough to say that the circle is saying high. Probably should have specified top left versus some other angle. And instead of, if I may, draw arms, we could have been a little more specific as to like the shapes or the angles of the arms that we wanted to draw. But of course, once you have implemented this solution to this problem, drawing a stick figure, now you can abstract it away, put it into your toolkit, call it a function, and maybe that function in the future has like certain parameters or inputs we can pass in that specify the angles and the size and the word and so forth. And again, that brings us back to abstraction, being able to take something that
This is
first
kind of
has
like
to be
that
done
peanut
at a
butter and
fairly
jelly
low
thing
level,
you did
but
in
then
elementary
all of us
school.
can
Like,
sort of build on top
teach me
of
how to
that
make a
idea
PB&J,
again and again,
and it's like all
and
terrible.
hopefully avoid ever having to solve precisely that same problem again. I will review all of these later, if I may. So that then is maybe our first activity in computational thinking, but we did so much more this semester as well. And in fact, if you think back from this week backwards, we started, of course, with Scratch, right? This graphical language for dragging and dropping puzzle pieces, some of which, some of you had played with that in middle school or high school or sort of dabbled just for fun. But the goal of Scratch wasn't so much Scratch, but to introduce some of those fundamental concepts that you see in a lot of programming languages, functions and arguments and return values, conditionals, loops, variables, and more. And it gave us this very comfortable place to experiment with those ideas and to really hammer home the point that once things escalated quickly in week 1 and we got to C and more traditional syntax, still just the same ideas, but just a lot of annoying parentheses and semicolons and quotation marks and sort of distractions that hopefully by now you appreciate is not what programming is about, is not the intellectually interesting part. It's just sort of the annoying aspect of learning some new language and understanding what that new grammar, that new syntax, that new vocabulary actually is. Thereafter, we began to explore how you can solve problems in memory. Like we talked about arrays. It's really the first sort of way to represent or to store information readily in memory and solve problems like keeping track of multiple values at once. We then took a step back from code and focused on algorithms, step-by-step instructions for solving problems, for searching and sorting, and a lot of problems that, though we chose simple versions thereof, are really omnipresent in the Googles and the Microsofts, the ChatGPTs of the world that are constantly navigating super large data sets nowadays. We talked at the lowest level about memory and pointers, and rest assured that in almost any subsequent programming language you learn, odds are you're building on top of those ideas instead of taking a deeper dive. Those of you destined to major or concentrate in computer science might dabble at that same lower level, especially if you like that their world. But then data structures is really what characterizes a lot of computer science, and all of those trees and tries and hash tables, and just using this canvas of memory to create things that only exist sort of in memory and in our minds, but if we draw pictures of them, they really do come to life and solve problems all the more efficiently. Then why Python? Why SQL? Why all of these more recent web languages? Well, Python is much more useful in a lot of cases than C. In fact, personally, I only use C between like September and October of each year, and then I sort of have to relearn it the next year because I just don't use it that much. It's still incredibly popular and omnipresent, but for fairly low-level applications where performance and speed and memory are really precious and important. But most of us, when we start solving problems with code, are probably going to reach for something like Python or R or Java or some higher-level language like JavaScript as well, just because it's easier to solve common problems with those there languages. SQL, though, in particular, was a different type of language, and it let us talk about something we might now know as declarative programming, where it doesn't really matter like how you get the data or how you select it, but just that you want to select some data, and this is the type of data you want to select, and there's no more loops and variables and conditionals. Like the language just takes care of all of that for you. And then, of course, there's the web. HTML, CSS, throw in some JavaScript. This is what most every application with which we are familiar every day nowadays uses for the web, for mobile devices as well. But there too, once we got to JavaScript, if briefly, we explored, we revisited those same ideas, functions, conditionals, loops, again and again. Now, this isn't the entirety of the world of programming. There are other types of languages out there. SQL hints at this. Python hints of this. Besides declarative programming, there's functional program, object-oriented programming, and there's still, therefore, much to learn. But we focused in CS50 on procedural programs, sort of step-by-step, truly, instructions for solving problems in code, but there's even more out there to learn. And indeed, when we end the course here with Flask, the motivation there in particular is not to teach some library or framework, because those are a dime a dozen, but to choose a simple one so that you can really explore the confluence of a lot of these ideas in your very own last problem set and ultimately final project, which of course brings us now to week 10. So the final project really is meant to be this opportunity to take your newfound knowledge of programming in CS out for a spin and build something of importance or of interest to you without being handed a specification and told exactly what to do. And you will find that this too is challenging. And you will find that you're Googling and ChatGPTing, which for this stage of the class is now welcome and encouraged, because a lot of computer science, a lot of programming in particular, is about just learning new things, some new function, some new API, some new library, or the like. That's like never going to stop, but you're going to get better at it. And you're going to have all the more instincts for how to read the documentation, how to recognize that, oh, this language I'm now just learning is actually pretty similar to this other thing I learned. And in fact, if the best thing we hopefully have done in the class for you ultimately is just to teach you how to teach yourself new things. Because in a few weeks' time, poof, we're all going to disappear from the stage here, but you'll still have some problems, presumably in the real world, to solve with code or otherwise. This is the tagline from the specification. All that we ask is that you build something of interest to you, that you solve an actual problem, that you impact campus, or that you change the world. No pressure, but ultimately you strive to create something that outlives this course, whether it's for your student group, your personal life, your professional life, just some proof of concept you've wanted to play with. The final project capstone is your own. And to get you there, we have this tradition of the CS50 Hackathon, which will be starting at 7 p.m. later this week, ending at 7 a.m. the next night. Is meant to be one of these memorable collegiate experiences, academic more so in nature, that is really meant to be an opportunity alongside classmates and staff and friends to collaborate on or struggle your way through some problem you want to solve. Here, for instance, are some visuals from the most recent year. A certain CS50 duck will await you to greet you, but it really is just meant to be an evening and early morning of solving problems. Writing code, figuring things out, getting a jump start on your same problem set. Around 9 p.m. will first dinner be served. Around 1 a.m. will second dinner be served. And if you still have the energy, around 5 a.m. we'll hop in some CS50 shuttles and head down the street to IHOP as well for pancakes in the morning.
All
so
night?
if your schedule allows, do join us for this particular tradition in a few days' time.
That'd
the
be
CS50
fun.
Fair, meanwhile, after Thanksgiving break, will be this opportunity to showcase
Harvard's
the work
gonna
that you
lit.
create via the final project for classmates and staff and faculty across campus. You'll gather here in a space on campus where some balloons and music and food and others will await.
Man,
and it'll be an
Harvard's
opportunity
sick.
to
What?
delight in the projects that each of you have created over these past several weeks,
Man, I got the
exhibiting
short
for the
end of
world
the
to see
stick.
what it is that you accomplished and,
my
more
school.
importantly, learned along the way. The CS50 duck even lost his head, so to speak, last year, was so impressed by this here project. So too will you meet Varun, perhaps, in that there costume as well. And ultimately will you receive, as have all
really,
of your
Harvard
predecessors
flexing.
past, your very own I took
They're
CS50
just giving away
t-shirt
everything, like
that hopefully you
Oprah
can
of
wear
CS.
proudly beyond the end
is the
of the
Oprah of
course
CS.
itself. So that brings us now to our second game, another opportunity to test just how much has sunk in from that fire hose over the past several weeks. If Yulia wouldn't mind coming up here on stage. For this, I think we need a set of 6 volunteers that have kindly volunteered just before class began. If teams 1 and 2 would like to come up, a round of applause for having so proactively volunteered. Come on up.
Dude, what is this? Harvard would have been, oh, man. See, I'm bummed. Like, I did pretty well in high school. Like, I didn't even know, like, that these places were really, like, options. Yeah, like, it's well known, but I don't know about you guys. My advisors in high school didn't tell us jack crap. So I just went, like, where, you know, my parents had some connections because they went. Like, if I had known, like, that there's all these cool programs and stuff, like, man, missed out big time. Like, not saying I would have gotten in, but at least could have tried. Like, this, if you do this, I feel like if you really care about it and you take advantage of all these resources that Harvard has to offer, if you're in their CS program, you could come out like a pretty decent programmer. Like, there's a ton of resources. Man, me out here went to top 60 in the CS classes in a musty basement. Yeah, literally, like, some of my classes for, like, my chemistry and dude, I remember I had to take like this like exploratory careers course in STEM. Like, it was just where a bunch of like either doctors or physicians or whatever came and then just spoke about their careers. And it was in the dungeon of one of their oldest buildings. Like, It was decrepit. It was haunted. And like, they're out here putting on full on Oprah performances live. Like, this is Ellen right here. You got Ellen up front. Like, what is this? Yeah, my guidance counselor advises everyone to go to a state flag show. I still apply to a bunch of reaches just for the possibility. I didn't get to meet him, Tim. I went to the door with a couple of my friends. We knocked. I said, "Can we come into the party?" They said no, and I said, "All right, later." They just have so many resources. I had to do my master's online due to COVID. It was so bad. Always wanted to enjoy all the events and live dorm life. Hiron, what college did you go to? Yeah, exactly. My COVID killed my junior and senior year completely. My senior year was actually, I went back for the last semester of my senior year. That was when it first started again. But my midway through my junior year up to my first semester of my senior year, I was completely online. And I'll be honest, like you don't learn as much, like especially at that age in college. Let me grab a refill on my drink. I'll be right back, guys. Keep it up in the chats. Be right back. All right. Got some Coke Zero today. What are you guys snacking on out there? What are we snacking on tonight? Tim says NBA champion and top 10 player, one of the greatest teams in the history of sports. Recognize your existence for 10 seconds. He probably don't even remember. I guarantee you. He doesn't really play much, does he? I think he's more of a bench warmer. My hair's kind of all coconut-like tonight. All right, let's keep it going here. You should do it here with me, Muna. I recorded and uploaded all the condensed versions of the lecture watch-along, so go back and watch those so you can, watch it alongside me and look at my notes for reference as I'm writing them. So, that's the whole point of me recording these and doing this live, is so that people can do it alongside me and kind of break that procrastination in terms of like, oh, I'll do it some other time, or, GSU, Georgia State University. What does GSU stand for? Probably, is it Georgia State? All right, let's go here. Let's keep going.
We should have our one. Let me invite you to say hello to the world.
Hi everybody, my name is Ishika. I'm a sophomore in Lowell House, and I'm concentrating in bioengineering.
Hi everyone, my name is Hayat. I'm a first year in Matthews studying computer science and applied math.
Hi, I'm Annalise. I'm a first year in Canada, and I'm planning to study econ and CS.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm a first year staying in Hurlbut Hall studying statistics and the history of science.
Hi, I'm Prisha. I'm staying in Greeno, and I plan on studying computer science and economics.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm a first year in Pennypacker, and I'm studying applied math.
All right, wonderful. Thank you all. Let's see, how about you three, actually hold on to the microphone. If you three want to come over here, if you three want to step off to the side, we're going to have team 1 go first and then team 2. And what we're going to have these teams do is play some CS50 charades. Now, as they say in engineering circles, we have beta tested this idea. That is, we tried this once with just the staff. It went pretty well. We've never done this live during class, so we'll see how well our algorithm works. But the goal of charades, of course, which I didn't tell the 6 before they came up on stage, is to act something out based on a word, a keyword that we put on screen for them. And then your other 2 teammates are going to have to guess what it is that person is acting out. Each of you will have 1 minute to act out a sequence of CS50 related terms that we've collected from the audience just before class began. I love these faces that you're making right now. And then after 1 minute, we'll switch to the next person, switch to the next person. So at any given time, one of you will be acting something out, and the other two will be guessing. OK, we have one blank stare. So let's repeat. So one of you, let's do this. Let's act it out. So you two come over here and sit down. And you will be standing roughly right here, facing the audience so that everyone can see you. But what you're going to be doing is acting out some word that we are going to tell you what it is. And that word is going to be over here. That word is going to be on the screen. So here to honor system, you two cannot look up. And when you're seated, you too cannot look up. OK. In the future, we'll figure out how to use fewer words to explain this game. So does that make sense now?
Yeah, this one I think is more for fun, Tim.
Let's go ahead and let's give the microphones to these two people. Yes?
What is going on?
All right. And what you have in your hands, too, are these fancy Ray-Ban sunglasses, which when you put them on, hold the button at the top right, and that will start recording for 90 seconds. And a little white light will turn on, and then we'll have your literal POV, point of view, as your teammate is trying to act out on stage. I'm not sure we should have chosen you as the first volunteer, but that's OK. All right, so you want to go ahead and put those on? If you want, yeah. It's just for fun. I guess, yeah, we didn't expect to invite two people with somewhat explained on the easel. So we'll point. 1, 2, 3, and we'll see if, because we have no control, you guys may not look up or behind you now. OK, here we go. Julia, let's generate the first word. And as soon as you see the word, you should start acting out this concept. And generally try to face the audience, too, as well as your teammates. OK. Go. What? OK.
Search.
Search algorithm? Detecting?
Algorithm?
You can say skip if it's too hard.
Skip.
It was inspect page.
Raise
From a browser.
conditions?
Right
Come
click,
on.
control click, inspect page.
Run.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Test. Flask run?
No. Skip. It was.
We're not sure,
race
AJ. We're trying to figure that out.
From databases.
Circle.
Drink?
This guy is not
Eat.
not it.
Time's
Cupcake.
up.
Oh, God.
That one was cookie.
Oh, my.
OK. So the score is now this. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's rotate. So you're off the hook. A round of applause, because that was difficult.
That was brutal.
Who's up next? I think what happened was the words we came up with in advance were actually relatively simple. And the ones you just saw were added by the group before class. So here we go. Round 2. So in 2 minutes, your team will be up. All right. Same thing. You two may not look up now. But either of you may skip as needed. And if you want to just stand back here so everyone can see you, and they can see you too. All right, here we go.
All right,
Generate.
you got this.
Iterate. Loop.
What? No way. What is she doing? That is not
Tree.
like. I mean, this is a hard
it
word.
Was query, like from a browser.
Well, how
Q
are you supposed
equals
to act
query.
these out?
OK, next up. Sure.
CS50.
Student.
CS50 duck. Artificial intelligence. TF student.
Oh my gosh, this is brutal. I think we should we skip?
CS50 project. CS50 final project.
This is tough. I know, right? This is hard. This is the hardest part of the
Hackathon?
course.
No, time is up. It was CS50 fair. So close. All right. Score remains the same.
No one's got
Final
it.
round for first team.
I know, this is a rough watch here.
OK. And again, for this round 2, hit the button again to record for 90 seconds. If you want to stand back here slightly, you can say skip whenever needed. You have 60 seconds. Go.
Hash map.
Close.
List.
Query.
Counting.
Sort.
For loop.
Out. Iterate.
Just like 0, 1, 2, 3. I don't know. This is rough.
Iterate. For loop. While loop. Do while loop.
Skip.
This is brutal.
It was index,
Oh.
like directory index.
CS50 does. CS50 lecture.
CS50 stage.
Sanders Theater. Memorial Hall. Stage.
This
Charades.
is so brutal.
CS50.
Final lecture. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Picking myself up by my bootstraps.
Time is up. The first was this is CS50, and that was bootstraps. Pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Okay, a round of applause. Okay.
That was brutal.
All right, come on over. All right, if you guys want to step aside, the first two of you may sit down. I'm gonna. Okay, yep, you got the glasses too.
Watch them just
All
like
right.
kill this.
All right. All right, I'm gonna clear the score. So, same game, 3 minutes now, 1 minute each. And if you want to stand just over here, and then just as being, hold the button at the top right. Let me hit it over here, and that'll start recording. Okay, right here. Okay, hopefully that worked. Okay,
These
go.
glasses, I think, are a big fail. I don't think they ever worked for this.
Binary tree? Oh,
Nice.
binary tree?
Binary tree.
Oh, they got it right off the jump.
We could end there, but why don't we keep going?
Okay.
These girls look smart. They know what they're doing.
Hash map?
Tree, binary, no.
Dictionary?
Close.
I don't think we ever used this term in CS50.
Oh, okay.
Skip. Data trees.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, she's doing good. I guess first word, internal.
Body?
Food. In. Side. Stomach.
Skip.
In.
Skipped out.
Time.
For blank in.
Internal server error.
Oh.
Okay, let's go ahead and rotate, but very well done. 1
If I didn't
point.
get it on the first jump, we got to skip right away.
Still close. Okay. Oh, and if you want to stand over here. And you guys, again, no looking up. Yep, just hold this button above your eye. All right, there we go. And here. Okay, go.
Oh, come on.
Duck.
Hackathon? CS50 hackathon?
Look.
Search?
Sequel. Duck. Look for the duck. Looks like a duck. Code for the duck. Oh, duck debugger? No.
Check 50?
What is she? Oh,
Skip
what?
was 50ville.
Oh.
Why is she pointing to the duck for 50ville? What? That was terrible.
Iterate? Loop?
Conditional.
Okay, there we
For
go.
loop. While loop.
While?
Do
Yes,
while.
while.
Okay.
Box.
Dictionary?
Phone book.
Database? Table?
Form.
Dictionary?
Oh,
Key?
phone.
Hash map?
I would do
Hash
like
table?
this, like hash.
Hash table.
Hash.
Hash function.
Yes.
Ah.
And time. All right, we have time for one more round.
One more.
Go ahead and rotate in.
Would you guys have gotten these?
Is it still recording?
It'll stop after 90 seconds. Okay, good. Okay, and if you want to stand right here as well, you're going to bring us home here. Final round. All right, ready? Go.
Bruh, come on.
Main function.
Ooh. Duck.
CS50.
Point to like the
Duck
sole of your
debugger?
shoe. Rubber. The sole of your
This is
shoe.
duck. Rubber
Rubber
duck.
duck.
Yes!
Come on, just do this.
Table, box, screen, hash.
Yes.
Oh.
She's pretty good. The girl in the green?
Iterate,
Just go like.
concatenate.
Okay. Bubble sort.
Oh.
5 seconds.
Just come on, this girl is totally
And
not.
time. That one
Come
was
on,
great.
that was
Round
the
of
easiest
applause
one.
For our volunteers. All right.
Get me in Harvard,
Congratulations.
man.
We have some wonderful prizes
Put me in,
for
coach.
you all. Nicely done. Thank you. And okay, congrats. All right. And congrats to our second team too, for which we have some prizes as well. Congrats to you guys also. All right. So, thank you all. And thank you all, since that was version 1 of that idea. All right. So,
That was brutal.
a bit remains before we wrap up with one final
Still a
audience
little sick.
participation opportunity. So over these past several weeks, we've been using this tool dubbed Visual Studio Code for CS50. That said, it is an industry standard tool. It's a popular, largely open source project, which means that people in the real world use this as well. Even though we've sort of branded it as CS50 specific, that's only in the sense that when you logged into cs50.dev, we gave you a customized version of VS Code that frankly had a lot of features turned off, just to keep things simple, that had a lot of settings pre-configured for you so that at the beginning of the term, we don't have to give you these long instructions for downloading something, installing something, configuring something. And then with so many of us having different versions of operating systems, you just inevitably run into technical support headaches.
Yeah.
We don't want that in week 1 when Hello
guess
World
that
is
is
already
smart.
a challenge in a language like C. However, now that you're at the end of CS50 and perhaps the beginning of your final project, we would strongly encourage you to transition to Visual Studio Code itself or some other tool, if you prefer, by actually downloading and installing it now. Because even though you haven't done this particular process before,
We already got that
odds are
thing.
you're just a little more
Right there,
comfortable
baby.
now and perhaps a little more aware of what is code related, what is technology related, or the like, and hopefully you're just more comfortable troubleshooting problems like this. That said, it should be hopefully a relative breeze to install, except for maybe 1 or 2 things that invariably arise in the real world, but now hopefully you're equipped for that. That said, if you go to CS50's documentation, we additionally have some steps there that will allow you to configure your own version of VS Code similar to what we did for CS50, just to sort of get you back into a comfortable space. But this is maybe one of the best things you can
What's
do
your
for your
guys'
final
favorite IDE?
project
What do you guys
is,
use?
if you're willing, stop using cs50.dev, get it working on your own Mac or PC, if only so that by the end of the class, you're truly decoupling yourself from all of and the last of CS50's so-called training wheels. That said, other things that you can do as you now have some 10+ weeks of CS50 under your belt, install some command line tools on your Mac or PC, at least if you are now all the more computer science inclined. The reality is that a lot of us, myself included, tend to prefer operating at a command line environment instead of a GUI because you can do things faster. With code, you can automate more things. And so it turns out that if you install the developer tools from Apple or these here from Microsoft, you can have a very similar environment and capabilities on your own Mac and PC. And funny enough, on Mac OS at least, and
does
in
the
some form
Xcode
on
do?
Windows, you actually have a command line environment that you might just not have ever used. So there's good documentation online for actually exploring those features too. Learning Git. So we've been using GitHub.com for quite some months. You're using your accounts to log in, and we're also storing backups in the cloud on GitHub servers and the like. But the reality is, in industry, GitHub is used not just for those things, but so much more. GitHub and tools like it are really the de facto standard for collaborating on code with other people and for versioning your various versioning your code. So for instance, Google Docs nowadays and other tools have like a revision history type menu that you can scroll back in time through changes you've made. That's incredibly useful for code as well. But generally in the world of code, even though in cs50.dev we have automatically been backing up your code like every 5 minutes just to make it a little easier to roll back in time if need be. In the real world, what programmers would generally use is a command line tool called Git. And when they're ready to save a new version of their code, they would run a few commands, maybe push it optionally to the cloud so that it's a little more thoughtful. And it's not just this massive, long chronology of changes, but very deliberate milestones that the programmer is reaching. So CS50's own Brian
And you
Yu
guys
has a
had a
wonderful
good
video
Git
at this
course or
URL
something
here
that we could
you
do?
might find useful.
I know the
for just
basics,
onboarding
right?
yourself to a
But
very
I think it'd be
popular
better
tool
to
that
learn
if you ever work in industry
more
or
in
code,
depth.
invariably
Let me know if you
you'll
guys have
end
any
up
good
seeing or
resources for
using
Git.
the same. hosting a website. So if you're thinking of having like a portfolio website or your resume or just something fun or personal or professional online, statically, there's some good websites out there. For instance, GitHub has its own service, which is free, called GitHub Pages, which allows you to use your existing GitHub account, write some HTML files, or even things called Markdown files, some CSS files, JavaScript, and with the right commands, you can post it to the internet at a domain name, either from GitHub itself or one that you buy and use for the same. So these are two such websites via which you can host static websites pretty easily as well. When it comes to full-fledged web applications, so using Flask or maybe server-side JavaScript or some other framework, then you might want to use a different set of tool altogether. So among the big cloud providers out there, Amazon and Microsoft and Google, these are URLs to free versions of their cloud services that at least while you're formerly a student, generally have free access to for some amount of time or some amount of credit, so to speak. GitHub has its own student education pack, which similarly gives you capabilities that to date CS50 has made available to you for free, thanks to our friends in industry. But you as an individual student can also take advantage of these resources without subsequently using any of CS50's infrastructure. Here are two other popular websites nowadays, too, that are more easily used, I do think, than the bigger cloud providers at top there, to just deploying your Flask application or something else to the cloud, which is to say this is a good list of ways you can put your very own final project, if it's a web app, on the actual web and outside of your code space. Asking questions. So this is kind of a new slide. Like, we weren't really talking about ChatGPT like a year ago, but now it's sort of omnipresent. And indeed, even I, when it's come to preparing for classes, learning some new language, learning some API or framework, I mean, among all the technologies I've seen over the years, this was probably the one that changed my own behavior over just a matter of days or weeks, as opposed to being more evolutionarily.
Can you not host Flask pages on GitHub
indeed,
Pages?
ChatGPT, which you're now welcome and encouraged to use for your final projects instead of just the duck, is pretty game-changing because, one, it's been trained on a lot of computer science and programming data. Two, a lot of the human content on the web tends to skew technological when it comes to those same domains.
We've been using it up to this point, but we've been using it pretty responsibly
where you can
and
even
for
ask
the goals of
ChatGPT about
learning.
CS50 concepts, and
We
they're
don't have
already
any
built in
TAs
there
or,
as well, which is to say that in
physical
the absence
study
of a
sessions we
friend, a
can go to,
sibling,
so.
a colleague, a boss, a parent, or anyone else, asking ChatGPT as your sort of virtual teaching assistant next to you or colleague is already pretty game-changing. And there's features, too, in CS50.dev and in VS Code more generally that we've actually turned off by default for months because it would have just taken away the opportunity to develop some muscle memory. So a very popular tool nowadays in industry is something from GitHub too called Copilot, which essentially is an extremely more useful version of autocomplete in your browser. And it can actually write many more lines of code than, say, traditional autocomplete, and certainly more than the duck by design allows. So that too is something that you might want to play with in your own accounts as well. But there's still humans out there, and like these are some popular places and websites just to ask questions of actual humans. Remains to be seen how websites like this evolve over the coming years if we're turning more so to AI. But these are some of our favorites. And then just keeping abreast of news, like two good sources that you might be reading already are TechCrunch and then Hacker News, the URLs for which are on the screen here. And if you just generally want to kind of stay abreast of changes in technology, these are two popular spots, among others as well. And then you can take classes. So there's certainly the traditional program here on campus, be it at Harvard or Yale, through the college or extension school or beyond. But even CS50 over the years for incoming students and outgoing students has been putting together a set of free open courseware courses that you can take for fun, for free, over winter break, over the summer, just sort of at your own pace or leisure, including these URLs here. And just to give you a wave of the hand
over winter
each
break
of these
would be a
courses
brutal
allows you
ask.
to do after CS50 itself ends, we have a course called CS50P for short, which is a Python-specific class. And it does assume from the get-go no experience with Python, but very quickly goes more into depth than CS50 itself does, covering topics like these, only some of which we've seen in CS50 itself, but really do round out your comfort with and understanding of a language like Python. So over winter break, if you just want to get better with Python, this might be one place to start.
With it.
If you're more
in the Discord, guys, free in the Discord.
And the statistics, data science world, and the like, we have, thanks to CS50's own Carter Zenke, a CS50 course on R specifically, a popular programming language for those domains, covering topics like these. A course called CS50W by CS50's own Brian Yu, which really does pick up where CS50 leaves off this week and focuses all the more on web programming specifically,
Maybe we need to
going
take
more
that
deeply
one
deeply
next.
into other frameworks, other technologies, other trends.
We should probably take that
including
one
some of the
next.
topics you see here
What do
on
you guys
the screen.
think? Should we do
There's a games class
CS50W?
if you skew a little more artistically or game-oriented and you want to actually build your own two-dimensional games as well by understanding already a bit of programming. There's CS50 AI by Brian as well, which goes more deeply and theoretically into artificial intelligence.
Maybe
and
we
how
should do
you
that
can
one
build
too.
on
Man, we
top
should
of
do
it
all
yourself
these. Gosh.
using Python as the language of choice. And then if that weren't enough to do over winter break, there's a class specifically from CS50's team on SQL, which goes more deeply into what we dabbled in.
kinda
over
wanna
the
do
past
that one
few weeks
too.
to round
Oh
out
my
your knowledge
gosh.
there.
So
this
much.
too really speaks ultimately to one of the design goals of CS50 is that it's not meant to be a course in C. It's not meant to be a course in Python. It's not meant to be a course in JavaScript or anything else we discussed, but a course in programming, period. So that by the end of this course, which is effectively now followed by your final project, hopefully you'll exit the class with not having mastered each and every one of these languages, which frankly will take months or years unto themselves, but rather feeling comfortable with and confident with your ability to teach yourself new things by finding patterns in future languages, future projects that, oh, that's like that thing we learned in CS50. And that really is the goal, to enable you to think like a computer scientist and also program like one as well. Of course, there's a lot of threats in the real world, and so the last of the courses
would be
I'll
a
put
good
on the
one
screen here is
too,
CS50's
for
own
just,
introduction
like,
to
the knowledge.
cybersecurity, which will
Hey,
allow you to
man,
explore some of
so
the
much
threats,
to
all
do.
of the things that can go wrong when you are writing
That's
code
why
or
CS, I
using
feel,
someone
is like the
else's.
hardest
Only a
major
few of which
besides
we touched
medical.
upon in this
There's
class,
just so
like
much.
SQL
It's so
injection
dense.
attacks and the like. There's so much more, unfortunately, underneath the hood to beware. And in the months to come, the years to come, whether you're still on campus or off, we hope you'll consider applying to be a teaching fellow, a teaching assistant, a course assistant. Stay tuned for emails from us so that you can join CS50's team
That'd
over
be
time.
fun. I would do
and
that.
two, even after
I was
you
a TA for
graduate
chemistry and a
from
lab
CS50
instructor.
or the college more generally, do consider staying in touch.
Highly
We have a
recommend
vibrant
you guys
community of
work for the
alumni of
university. It
course,
really helps
from
to keep
Harvard,
your
Yale,
studies
and
up.
beyond online as well.
Make money
Before
while
we
learning.
turn to our final fun end game, allow me to just give some thank yous to folks in and outside of the class. So one, the team at Memorial Hall who brings us into the space each week and gets everything ready for us. Two, the ESS team who kindly makes everything sound so good as we're playing demos and having everyone walk in and hear things. Chang Shou, our friends up the road that so many of you have joined us for lunches at. They're open outside of CS50 hours too, so feel free to stroll up Mass Ave to join them another time. And then,
Man,
of course,
this would be
CS50's
so
production
fun to
team
go to
who is
school
often
here.
there and there and there
Man.
and there. Maybe a round of applause for...
Should we go back to school? YouTube funded post-back
Ironically,
at Harvard?
making
Should
it
we apply
possible
and
for
go back?
you to not have to be here all of the time.
You guys
Thanks
have to support
the team
me.
for making all of this hopefully look so good. And then most importantly, like the humans that have been behind CS50's,
Vlog every
CS50's
day.
team here at Harvard,
Show you guys
CS50's
what it's like.
team here at Yale, that you too can become members of over time if you so choose to join us. And then lastly, of course, this here, that there, CS50 Duck. Thanks to CS50's team, Rongshin and others for having brought that
I feel like the
duck
only thing that would be tough is you have to be with
to
a lot of
life,
like young
so to
people,
speak.
like
And that brings us to our
18-year-olds. That's the
final
only.
segment today.
If you're
before
older
we'll
going
adjourn
back,
into
it'd
the
be tough.
transept for cake. This being the CS50 quiz show, which is something in which all of you can partake. So we need no more volunteers other than everyone here in the room. You're about to experience a sequence of 15 CS50 related questions.
Okay, here
and
we
an
go.
Opportunity for us to really
All right,
assess
chat, here we
or
go,
really
chat.
check, if you will, your
What do you guys have?
understanding
What do you guys know?
of the same. And upon the 15th question,
Wing
we'll
Hong
be
hating
adjourned
over
for
here.
that
Wing
cake.
Hong's always hating.
I think we are just about ready.
Hates Mark Zuck, hates Harvard.
Hopefully, on your phones now, you see an interface via which you can respond via multiple choice to this question. Which statement is correct in C? Printf, quote unquote, hello, semicolon. Print, quote unquote, hello. Print, hello.
Number one.
Printf, quote unquote,
Number one.
hello.
Number one.
And we'll see as the responses come in. 93% of you are voting
Well, they're going
for
to
the
get peer
first
pressured
answer.
now. Number one.
4%, 3%, and 2% of you disagree slightly, but I suspect that percentage is realizing missing semicolon, missing quotes, missing semicolon. Oh, and we see the answer already. The answer with 92% correct is indeed the first answer. Very well done. How about the next question?
Yes, we got that one.
When using malloc, what should you always do when you're done with the
Free.
memory?
Number two.
Let it be.
Number
Free
two.
the memory.
Number two, my lord.
Break out of the program. Delete everything.
Delete everything. Number
Okay,
two.
97% this time. I'll note, too, that these are questions you all wrote as part of the prior problem set wherein we asked you for some review questions. These are your questions and your answers. I guess let it be is not wrong.
Let it
but
be.
Okay, free the memory is the correct answer there.
Nice.
All right, nicely done. How about question 3? Which of these was the first widely recognized computer bug? A spider in the vacuum tubes, a moth stuck in a relay, a mouse in the keyboard, a cockroach in the power supply?
A moth in the relay. Number 2. Number 2. Yes.
All right, 61%,
Ooh, this one's
60%.
a little bit more divided.
Voting a moth stuck in a relay,
Cockroach
but a cockroach in the power supply is a strong 22%.
No, it's not cockroach in the power supply.
Spider in vacuum tubes. All right, the numbers are still coming in a little bit. Yulia, should we reveal that only 61% of
Yeah,
you
woo!
This is the old.
How are you guys doing on
old
this?
Story involving Admiral Grace Hopper, who is reported to having documented the phrase formally in her logbook. Moving on. Which of the following is the correct way to create a variable in C and assign a value to it? Var x equals 10 semicolon, x equals 10 semicolon, int x equals 10 semicolon, int x colon 10 semicolon.
Number 3, int x equals 10.
In C.
Number 3.
All right, should we see the chart? All right, int x equals 10 semicolon with 91.2%. Shall we look at the answer?
Come on, baby.
That is, of course, is correct. Moving on to question 5. What does FIFO stand for? Spoiler. Well, it's definitely not last in, first out anyway.
Number 2.
First in, first out. First in the far, far in the farther. 97% voting this time. I think we can click to the solution. Indeed, very well done. First in, first out refers to our discussion of queues because you put it in first, and that hopefully, for equity's sake, is the first thing to come out.
The weather
as
would
well.
be hard,
All right,
huh?
moving on. Question 6. Which data structure in Python uses
Number
key
4.
value pairs?
Number
Strings,
4.
lists, arrays,
Come
or
on, this is
dictionaries?
too easy.
Which data structure in Python? Huge voting turnout for dictionaries, and I think we can just say, yeah, that's the right answer. So dictionaries, of course, are all
Come
about
on,
key
give me a
value
hard
pairs
one.
can be implemented underneath the hood
Pause.
as something like a hash table, recall. Number 7. Which Sesame Street character was the star of David Malin's Scratch game? I think in week 0.
I think it's Oscar the Grouch.
Big Bird, Elmo, or Bert?
It's Oscar for the trash, right?
Week 0.
Yes.
Wow, 79, 80, 81%.
Nice.
None of these characters have made an appearance here. And like 80% voting for Oscar the Grouch, and indeed, that's the correct answer. All right, number 8.
What was that?
What's the time complexity of inserting a new node at the beginning for a linked list in C? Big O of n, big O of 1, big O of n squared, big O of log n.
Oh, it's constant,
This one's
right?
going to be interesting.
Oh, it's 2.
All right, much more of a mix. The time complexity of inserting a new node at the beginning
constant,
of a
right?
linked list, keeping in mind that the beginning never moves, never gets longer because it's always right there.
Just
so
pointer
I dare say
references.
Yulia with 52% reporting in.
Yes!
Big O of 1
Woo!
is in fact correct. It might not take one step, it might take 2 or 3, depending on how many pointers you need to
complexity.
manipulate. But if you're always inserting it, inserting it, or prepending it in front of the list, odds are you can do that indeed in constant time. All right, it's getting more challenging. Number 9. Getting less challenging. Number 9.
Not equal
what
to.
does exclamation
Number
point
4.
equal sign mean in C?
Come on,
equal
this is
to,
too
greater than, less
easy.
than, not equal to.
Number 4.
Correct. All right. Means not equal to when you have the exclamation point, aka bang, equal sign, which negates the meaning of equal. All right. 10. In SQL, what keyword sorts the results of a query? Group by, sort by, organize by, order by.
Group by.
Oh.
No, am I
A
wrong?
majority are saying order by.
Is it group by?
Organize by was not a thing. Sort by is a reasonable incorrect guess. Group by does something different.
No,
you actually
I'm
want to do some
wrong.
kind of
No.
aggregate query by grouping by some common value.
See, my sequel's
Order
not
by
as
was in fact
good.
correct. Order by
No,
ascending,
order by.
order by descending were the two
Oh.
things we saw there. All right. A few questions to go. Number 11. What's the main advantage of using a linked list over an array? They give faster access to elements. They have dynamic
Yes.
size. It is easier to sort. less memory is used.
Faster access to elements.
Linked list over array. Interesting. All right, so only 70%, but I think we've gotten every question right by a majority at least, is indeed, if we want to reveal, the correct answer. So linked lists are advantageous because you can insert, you can remove, and you don't have to worry about moving everything around in memory like you would for an array. They don't really give faster access to elements though, because you lose binary search, at least as we discussed, because you don't have random access to any of the nodes directly. Easier to sort, not really, because there's so much more work to do back and forth, whereas with arrays, you can just swap things using their indices. Less memory is used. Your opposite is true. You're using more memory, like an extra space for all of those pointers as well. All right. Few final questions. What sort algorithm swaps adjacent items in a list until the list is in order?
Bubble sort.
We saw that acted out before.
Bubble sort.
Hint. All right. Yes, bubble sort with 90%, I'm pretty sure is correct there. All right. 3 questions remain before we get cake. And what can result in a stack overflow? Touching areas of memory you were not supposed to, accessing an array out of bounds, incorrectly modifying a variable, calling too many functions.
Number 2?
This one will be interesting too. We have no majority vote this time, which can result in a stack overflow. So as the votes continue to come in and change, recall that when we depicted memory as being this abstract rectangle, we had the stack up down here, we had the heap up here, and every time we called a function, we added another frame to the stack, another frame to the stack, like trays on a stack in a cafeteria. So the more functions you call, you can change your answers. The more functions you call, the more and more memory you use that, at least pictorially, are growing up. And if you finally do, OK, so I guess calling too many functions is what we were getting at. 39% though, so not a majority. But 2 questions left. Let's see if we finish strong. What do we call a reference to a memory address in C? A determiner?
Number 2.
A pointer? A resolver? A compiler?
Pointer.
Question 14 out of 15. OK, strong 96% for pointer. I think we can agree that's in fact correct. And lastly, with the final flourish, and maybe before we see 15, a round of applause for our CS50's preceptor, Yulia, for having run the show here. Let us look at question 15. Quack, 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 quack.
What?
Before there was AI, this was literally all the virtual duck did. OK, so it's pretty split between 1, 2, 3, and 4 quacks. 48, can we get to 51%? No? Yes? Yes? Oh! It's not, there's not even a correct answer here. But in any case, how about that's it for CS50. Cake is now served.
All right, we are done. Woo! Nice. That is it. All right, that was Harvard CS50X Week 10 on the end. That was just a fun little wrap-up lecture, some fun games. Honestly, probably could have skipped that one, but it's okay. It is all good. We are done with that one. It was only an hour long. That's why we watched the entirety of it. We usually like to break them down into hour-long stints for the watch-alongs, but this one was just an hour long. It was a shorter one, so we are done there. Nice. Woohoo! So this has seminars. What is seminars? Led by our opportunity to dive deep into topics of interest. Data science, machine learning, and Python. Ooh, that'd be interesting. A 43-minute light intro. That would be interesting to watch, potentially. All right, we completed that. We are going to work on our final project next. That is the next assignment for CS50X. And we are going to work on that over the next probably a couple of weeks here. We'll complete that up a little bit by little bit. We have to come up with an idea and get something going here. But so let me know if you guys have any ideas for a final project that we can make. We really, it's kind of all up to us. I think it would be fun. I think I kind of have an idea. Like, would it be fun if we created like a custom front end, back end application where users of the or channel members can go and log in and subscribe to to this website or whatever for free, and then they can have like channel achievements or something would be fun. I'm not sure how we would do it, where I could also mimic my Discord into kind of an online format where I provide the resources there, like kind of in like a Wikipedia kind of thing, just like a Michael's resources kind of page or something would be cool. I'm really not sure. So then it can be accessible beyond the web and also on Discord. I think that would be fun as well. So honestly, I don't even know. So let me know what you guys think, or have any ideas for a final project that we could do. If you guys have taken the course yourselves and have completed a final project in it, let me know what you guys have did or done in the past, so we can get some ideas. But super, super fun. Let's go ahead and just gauge the final project here. The climax of this course is the final project. The final project is your opportunity to take your newfound savvy with programming out for a spin and develop your very own piece of software. So long as your project draws upon this course's lesson, the nature of your project is entirely up to you. You may implement your project in any languages. You are welcome to utilize infrastructure other than the CS50 code space. All that we ask is that you build something of interest to you, that you solve an actual problem, you impact your community, or you change the world. Strive to create something that outlives this course. Inasmuch as software development is rarely a one-person effort, you are allowed an opportunity to collaborate with one or two classmates for this project. Needless to say, it is expected that every student in any such group contribute equally to the design and implementation of that group's project. So maybe we could make it open source and work on it together. That'd be fun. Moreover, it is expected that the scope of the 2 or 3 person group project be respective twice or thrice that of a typical one-person project. A one-person project might should entail more effort or time than is required by each of the course problem sets. Note that CS50 staff audits the submissions, including the final project. Gotcha. Idea is web-based application using JavaScript, Python, and SQL, an iOS app using Swift, a game using Lua with Love, an Android app using Java, a Chrome extension using JavaScript, a command line program using C, a hardware-based application of some device. Getting started. Creating an entire project may seem daunting. Here are some questions that you should start with. What will your software do? What features will it have? How will it be executed? What new skills will you need to acquire? What topics will you need to research? One or two classmates who will do that. In the world of software, most everything takes longer to implement than you expect, so it's not uncommon to accomplish less in a fixed amount of time than you hope. You might want to consider to be a good outcome for your project, a better outcome, the best outcome. Consider making goal milestones to keep you on track. If using CS50 codespace, create a directory called project. How to submit. Create a short video that's no more than 3 minutes in length. Your video must begin with an opening section that displays this. Create a README file. And submit. Wow. All right, cool. So we will be working on that over the next few weeks together. We'll have to come up with some ideas and brainstorm in the Discord off stream, and we can maybe open it up to collaborating together on it. I think would be super fun. Not sure yet, Alex. Anybody have any ideas? I'm gonna have to think of some stuff. Maybe I think it would be cool. It would be difficult, but it would give us a lot of good practice. Maybe if I can use my chemistry background and we can create I don't know, it'd be really hard, but that's what she said. But I think there's no better way to learn than dive into something pretty difficult, especially in C. I think if we made a molecular structure modeler where we start with organic molecules, we provide the number of carbons, and then it will auto-generate the number of the carbon chain with the allotted number of hydrogens attached to it. We'll start very simple, and then we'll expand that out to incorporating oxygens in there, or nitrogens, other and then we'll expand it out into like inorganic molecules potentially. But we could start first with, on a simple terms of just using carbon chains via organic molecules and hydrogens to just make a simple carbon chain representation, maybe using some sort of visual like spheres and connecting pipes for the bonds. We could show we could have some math in there to demonstrate like bond length, or I'm not even sure. It would be kind of difficult. Honestly, one of the hardest project we've ever done so far. But that is something that I wanted to try out. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I'd have to research and talk with you guys about how we would implement it, because at the moment I have literally zero idea about where I would start. I don't know how to create shapes and objects in programming. I only know how to, or create like visual. I only know how to use like CLI interface stuff right now and create stuff in the terminal, and obviously that front end aspect using basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But I think it would be fun. So if you guys have any suggestions or ideas along that, I might have to just do some research to understand what all might go into it. But it definitely seems like it would be a very large scale project, but it could be fun as well. You should apply to Schrodinger. Schrodinger, like the cat? What is Schrodinger? Chemistry X software. Yeah, that'd be cool. So for those that are new here, my name is Michael. I'm 26 years old. Thank you so much for joining me. I stream every single day, me learning and teaching myself how to program, especially in more depth into computer science topics. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, where I graduated in 2021. I work for a biotech company as a formulation chemist, and I make biological controls via large batch solutions of various, organic, biological material, such as serum, plasma, blood, urine, all that kind of jazz. And then I kind of mimic, various, not diseases, but potentially testing attributes that patients might experience if they're going through various ailments. So let's say I have a specific solution I spike high for the certain contents of like red blood cells or nitrogen or something like that. And it's used to detect, diseases in patients and cross-reference your control against patient data. So it's a pretty cool job, and I think it would be fun to incorporate some of my science background into this, but I just don't know how exactly to do that yet. So I'd have to do some research. It's going to be a lot of work, but no better opportunity to actually to learn than to just dive right on in and get started with it. And so yeah, maybe we'll have to set up a stream for this weekend, and we'll get the ball rolling. Edith, that sounds awesome. What is Schrodinger? What kind of stuff do they do with chemistry and software? Yeah, that would be a fun project, way out of my depth, but I'd love to help and learn. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Maybe we could open it up together, AJ, and do it together as a stream, make it open source or something. I don't know much about chemistry, but I'm assuming it's all linked, like carbon to and other elements would be represented in the app. Yeah, exactly. So just like carbon chains, like organic molecules are just long carbon chains. They have a long carbon backbone, and then various, functional groups can be attached to them to represent differing molecules, like, alcohols, or which is just an OH, an oxygen and a hydrogen attached to one of those carbon chains. So you can have various functional groups that alter the structure of these organic molecules to, represent different things. But we could just first start off basically as just being the carbon chain with the auto-generated hydrogens, because every carbon chain can hold 4 bonds. 2 electrons can share, right? Because a carbon has 4 valence electrons, which makes it so that it can attach to 4 bonds. And so it can at most attach to 4 hydrogens. Now, if you have 2 carbons on either side, then that middle chain, that middle carbon will have 2 hydrogens on the top and the bottom per the electron interactions. So, and then the last on either end, those will have 3, one on top, one on bottom, and then one on the end sticking out. So we could start it off with just being a carbon, an organic molecule chain visualizer, and then we could even, do it very simply and start off with just doing it like recursively to potentially just display it via print statements into the terminal, and then we could expand it out to actually being objects. If you guys are interested in like, I stream every single day, teaching myself. I'm really, really dedicated to learning this. I've been doing everyday sessions for the past 3 or 4 months, but I've been teaching myself for about 7, 8 months now. We've written a few projects so far: a inventory management system, a task tracker application, and now a small business manager that we're about 95% complete on. We just have to finish up some last bugs to get our features working, and then it's ready to go for its first actual use cases. So we've been writing those projects completely live, completely original on the stream, and we've been learning a lot so far. So follow along here, subscribe if you're new, and join me every day in studying and learning new stuff. Don Soap says, C and math plus visualization would be a pain in the booty. Yeah, I don't know. Would it be better to do it in Python, do you think? I just was thinking like having to visualize stuff maybe would be easier in C, because I saw some other guys do like some ray tracing like design. He implemented like a visual of it in like an hour and a half in C. So I think that's why I thought it might be possible in there, but I really don't know. Hey Fernando23, welcome back. I'm from Peru. I'm taking CS50X. I'm on lecture 2. Do you recommend learning a language at the same time of CS50? I came in with some intermediate beginner knowledge of Python already. I took Harvard CS50P, written all my projects in Python so far, and have been reading Fluent Python as well as DSA in Python. Those are the books that we read live on the stream. So we've been reading these books. We're on page 420 of DSA in Python, and we're on page like 50 of the Fluent Python book. So we have been making a lot of progress on these. I have personal notes. I have a Discord link down below where I share with you guys all of my personal notes as well as on my GitHub. So everything is completely transparent for free for you guys. My math and software, I choose Python, better modules and visualization. Yeah, that sounds like a better idea probably. I did something similar as an OOP project. We used a graph to connect country artists that were featured in other songs. Similar approach you could use for this. Interesting. Input a formula, then an app displays what properties this molecule would have. Yeah, my only hesitation with Python is its speed. The math is fast, but it's implemented in C, so C++. If you want to do some 3D stuff, it may be good to use a game engine, not going to lie, but I haven't explored 3D interactive stuff before. Yeah. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be 3D at first. Maybe it would just be 2D. But honestly, I don't know. I'm not. It'd be interesting. 3JS could work for 3D. Yeah, it'd be a huge learning curve to do it. It'd be a big project. Maybe we should scale down and do something a little bit smaller. I don't know. We're just brainstorming ideas for a final project. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. I'm still coming over a sickness. I didn't go to work today. I slept all day. I woke up right before the stream because I just was not feeling good this morning. And so I'm still a little bit congested, as you probably can hear in my voice. But yeah, so anyways, I wanted to show you guys really quickly the Small Business Manager project, because honestly, we could use this as our final project. I feel like that is kind of a scapegoat though. Like, I mean, we've learned all of these other resources like SQL, Flask, HTML, JavaScript, CSS. I'm kind of like, yes, this is a huge project compared to what we've written so far, but like, I'm not really utilizing all the other resources that I learned in there. So I am a little bit curious. And should I use this as our final project? And it'll definitely qualify, but let me know what you guys think. I wanted to just talk about the project here. Tomorrow, what we're going to do is we're really going to try to fix the bugs. So come back tomorrow for the stream where we'll implement and try to fix these bugs. So what's going on right now is we have in the business class, we have all this information that's being saved, right? We have the income information section, we have expense information, and then we have expense settings and inventory settings, right? So in the income information, we have annual gross revenue, annual net revenue. and expense information. We have annual gross expenses, and then we have annual gross categorized expenses, and then annual gross methods, right? So expenses have categories and methods associated with them, and then we also can statistically categorize them this way as well. Now, what's happening in certain cases when I update an item's price that it either sold at, or update an expenses price that I charged it at, it's updating the maybe a few of these methods or a few of these statistics, but it's not updating all of them, right? So if I change an expenses amount, well, the annual gross expenses will change. The annual gross category, whichever that expense category categorized, will also change, and then whatever method it has will also change. So I need to, and right now it's only selectively, some of these are changing, some of them aren't. So I need to create some update methods, and then wrap those methods in a general function for calling whenever I need to do this update. So what I'll do, I think, is we'll just go through the program. We'll just create kind of like a chart and say, okay, at this stage, if I add an item, what gets updated? Well, nothing from the income information gets updated because no sale was made. Yes, okay, if I generate an item, an expense gets made, so the annual gross expenses goes up, the annual category expense goes up for whatever category it applied to, and the annual gross methods will also go up for whatever method that expense had. So because when you add an item, it is considered an expense, right? So we'll just need to go through, create a chart basically at whatever stage we're updating or making post requests for information. Basically, we need to make sure that we're updating all of these statistics that correlate to that update. And so what we'll do is we'll just go through step by step tomorrow in our program here. We'll say, okay, at what stage in the inventory menu, if I add an item, what gets updated? And then we'll go in there and we'll make all the changes. And then if I edit that item, whether it be a sold price, we'll just need to go through and select what is impacted at what stages and make sure everything is accounted for correctly. You can make an interpreter or a compiler. Interesting. If you want to use this for a final project, I feel like you should make a new version implementing the things you learn, examples with SQL, with the database instead of just JSON. Yeah, exactly. That was my thought exactly, Kenny. Is right now we're using JSON. That's a perfect example. We're using JSON and file.io to store that, when we could easily convert this into a SQL database, and it would probably be easier than what we're currently doing now. So I think if we do use this as our final project, what I should do is, what I think we'll do, I think is a good idea. I still want to do that chemical modeler, that molecular modeler, but I think also what I think would be a good start to just getting some more exposure with that full stack environment is just we'll polish out this current version, and then we'll convert it into a full stack environment with whatever devices we may seek from there. We could learn to Django and try that instead of Flask. If you guys suggest that. But that's a great idea, I think, is let's get this one polished up tomorrow. Let's fix those bugs where whatever we're sending requests for updating, we're making sure all the statistics are being updated properly. Let's polish it out, and then let's convert it there into a full stack using SQL, using HTML, front end, back end, and make it like a web app, honestly. So how does that sound, you guys? What do you guys think about that? If you guys are here, leave a thumbs up on the stream. We completed and watched the final lecture, week 10 of Harvard CS50X, where we have been starting that. We've been watching and keeping up with that course ever since the beginning of the year 2025, and we're talking about our final project right now. Yeah. So great idea, Kenny says. Yeah, I like that idea too. I think that would be fun. And I think the small business manager also serves a lot of real world purpose. I do think there are a lot of small, less experienced entrepreneurs out there that don't know how to manage inventory, don't really care to, but they're mainly just trying to sell their products. So if we can provide them a free tool that can, that they can easily just load into their computer and then just track their inventory expenses automatically, and report these business statistics for whenever they calculate their taxes at the end of the year, then I think it would be a great resource for them, or an opportunity for people to use for free. All right. So I know that this one was a little bit shorter than normal. I'm just coming over an illness, so I'm going to call it here. I usually stream about 2.5 hours to 3.5 hours every single day, but this one I am going to call it a little bit shorter for today. So I appreciate you guys so much for joining me. I'm just coming over an illness. I didn't go to work today. I slept all day. I'm just congested, and I still wanted to come out and finish the lecture for you guys. I am feeling a lot better that I got caught up on some sleep, but still need, don't want to be just talking for hours and hours on end, and then just need to focus on, getting better, and we'll go from there. So anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. PST. I stream every single day teaching myself computer science. I'm a chemist by profession, and I've been teaching myself from scratch how to program computer science topics in general, just because I find it very fascinating and I want to learn more. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, like the stream, and join the Discord where you can get access to all my personal resources. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. See you guys. Thanks for dropping by. Bye, guys. See ya, Kenny. See ya, AJ. See ya, Don. See ya, Edith. See ya, Fernando, Ryan, Alex, that kid, dude, Wing Hong, Tim, Muna. You guys are awesome. Mahan. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. Aaron. All right.